ガンダムだ。俺がガンダムだ。
Welcome to Buildcasters, a Gundam podcast of some sort. I'm TheMacabreChap, and I'm joined by...
Yo, it's your boy SentaiFive as usual. How's it going, everybody?
And we're joined by a guest today. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Greetings and salutations, cool cats and cuties. My name is David Jeffrey Majors, but you can call me DJM.
Welcome.
Thank you guys so much for having me on Buildcasters. It's really a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, seriously. We've been looking to have a guest on the podcast sometime soon, so...
Am I your first guest?
You are indeed our first guest.
Oh man. No pressure.
Yeah.
So today
They say it kind of hurts the first time, but it gets easier after that, so I'll do the best I can.
I mean, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. I've been listening to APOS for longer than I can remember, so yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. Oh, and it's in season 2.
Yes. Well, for everyone out there that enjoys the anime podcast of some sort, and it's in season, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but let's talk about the Gundams, guys.
Let's talk about the Gundams.
Absolutely.
So today on Buildcasters, what we're going to be doing, what you've all been waiting for, is we're going to be reviewing Gundam 00. But first, yes, 00. How do you feel about 00, DJM?
I will say point blank, Gundam 00 is without question my favorite Gundam series that is an alternate universe series. Depending on the day, depending when you ask me, it might be my favorite Gundam series of them all, depending on when you ask me, depending on my mood, depending on the day. It might be second to Zeta Gundam, depending on the day, but it might be first. But it's very, very high up there for me. And I would almost say that on my personal all-time top 5, just of all of anime, it's somewhere in the top 3. Gundam 00 is an anime that I hold very near and dear to my heart. It is a true personal favorite of mine.
That is some high praise indeed. Before I get into the review, I will say that 00 also switches between being my favorite. It frequently switches between 00 and Build Fighters. Jesus, so much build.
Which should be a Gundam series.
Yeah, it should be.
Can I wear a mask?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're going to take the role of the masked character?
Somebody has to be the guy to wear the mask and threaten to blow up the Earth. I'll do it.
Or drop some colonies. Something like that.
So today on Buildcasters, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to go over some Gundam news, and then we're going to get into the main topic of 00. All right? How's that sound?
Amazing. As usual.
Okay, so first up on the news, we have an item concerning the live-action Gundam movie from Sunrise and Legendary Entertainment. So apparently, during an interview with Weekly Playboy, Yasuo Miyakawa, the president of Sunrise, revealed some new details about the movie. He said that he's aware of fan criticisms of the live-action production, that fans will be worried that the movie will be a Gundam movie in name only. What do you guys think about this?
I guess I'm kind of indifferent about it. The way they make it sound, it seems like they're not trying to adapt anything that's already been done in the anime. It seems like they're trying to do something completely original, but at the same time, I feel like it's just more for like the characters to try to make them more, I guess, up to date in a way. So I don't know. It feels like it's going either way. What about you guys?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I am not looking forward to this at all. I am so over the idea of live action adaptations of anime properties. I feel like anime fans everywhere have been asking forever for people to stop doing this. And yet it keeps happening because some Hollywood screenwriter or developer thinks that they can do this and adapt it for the rest of the world. And then we end up with what was essentially G Savior. And
I'm trying to make sure we don't have another G Savior this time around.
Do I even need to mention the likes of Dragon Ball Evolution?
Please don't.
Oh God, no.
I mean, quite frankly, this is just a terrible idea on so many levels. I have no faith, and I'm saying this will probably go into Gundam history alongside the likes of the Doozy bots. And when it's all said and done, the less we talk about it, the better. I'm not excited.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You have to mention.
Yeah, I said
mention
Doozy bots. I said
Damn.
Doozy bots. That's right.
Oh boy.
That's a hole in someone's heart right there.
That is definitely a hole in someone's heart.
That's crazy.
So Miyakawa went on to say that the Gundam movie will avoid simple military characters and focus on normal people in extraordinary contexts, which is a roundabout way of saying they're not going to be adapting UC, which is kind of a massive shame.
Yeah, that's the part that got to me, because I was like, wait, so they're not doing first Gundam then? I don't know what they're trying to do out of this, you know?
It sounds like
they're
it's going to be. It's going to be an original story. It's going to be AU from what it sounds like.
Oh boy.
I think that's a little risky, because the Gundam, I feel like the Gundam fandom in the US, or at least like overseas, it's still pretty rich, but like you want to attract like the common moviegoers at the same time as well, you know? Is this like the kind of way is this the kind of like path they should go down, or should they?
Maybe if it's a standalone movie. If it's a standalone
depends.
movie with its own story, it'll be easier for people to be interested in. Kind of what was the point of the AU project in general, instead of having this giant franchise of the Universal Century for people to get into. They have one show that they can enjoy, and if they like it, they can dig a little deeper. If this movie is an original idea, and if it's not what I'm expecting it to be, maybe it'll be the same idea.
Yeah, only time will tell, really. I feel like they could even, like, you know how Reconquista and G is pretty much like a distant future of the Universal Century. I feel like they could like probably do something like that if they really wanted to somehow make it fit in the Universal Century timeline down the line, I guess.
I guess they could do, but wasn't G Savior like set in the far-flung reaches of the future of the Universal Century?
Yeah, and then I think they retconned that. They just said in the end, after years later, it was a alternate version of the Universal Century or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
I mean, I was initially cautiously optimistic, but after this recent interview, I've just thrown all of that cautious optimism away, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping for adaptation of the original 79 Kiddo Senshi Gundam, especially because I haven't seen any of the UC anime, so I was hoping to use it kind of as like an entry point into the UC story. Yeah, I haven't seen any of it.
You gotta watch Zeta, man. Zeta. So good.
Start with Zeta.
Yeah, you don't really have to start with the original Gundam. You can start with Zeta, go forwards or backwards. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because like, I mean, obviously there's the characters from the original show, just like a few years older, but you don't really need to watch the original Gundam to know who they are and what they're doing and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've always told people that the two Gundam series, almost like a flow chart that I tell people to start off with, is either 00 or Zeta.
Okay.
And you can pretty much see how you feel from there.
Just don't start with Unicorn, because you'll be very confused.
Don't do that.
Unicorn, you have to at least watch Char's counterattack.
Oh yeah, because that reveals some of the juicy
Yeah,
plot
it
points.
finally follows up on that. Thank
Yeah.
God.
What I was gonna say is that with Universal Century, as soon as I'm done with IBO, I'm probably gonna jump right into it. So I'll start off with the original 79 Gundam and then work my way on from there.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I found myself rewatching a few episodes of Zeta
Okay.
a few weeks ago back. So I was like, oh, damn, this is such a good show.
So it definitely holds up.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
I rewatched it for the first time about maybe a year and a half ago. It's still great. It's
Really awesome.
I love the music to it, too. It's like, it's great. The dogfight music, oof, perfect.
So what we're going to go on to next is our next news item. So ASICS, a Japanese footwear brand, and London-based sneaker store Foot Patrol are teaming up to release a Gundam-inspired sneaker based on the ASICS Gel Saga shoe that originally was released in 1991, retailing for £115. Which is like $151 and some change. The sneakers, which come in a cream, white, and blue mobile suit inspired colorway, were released in Foot Patrol's London and Paris locations on yesterday, July 28th, and it will be more widely available on Foot Patrol's online store on August the 11th. David, have you had a chance to look at these? What did you think?
I actually think these are pretty cool. The Nike Air Max 98 Gundam actually has a pretty cool look to it.
Yeah.
This one actually has a pretty cool look.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me in some ways like a brand new shoe that came out from Puma for Sonic the Hedgehog, and it has the blue look, and the blue color here is really, really nice. However, I guarantee that there is going to be somebody out there that will want a Char red. Guaranteed.
Of course.
Of course.
Ain't nothing like the Red Comet.
These aren't bad. These aren't bad.
Yeah. I think they look really nice, to be honest. And I kind of wish they were available to pre-order in the US.
Can you not get them in the US?
I don't know. I've looked for them on like US sites. I haven't seen anything. It only
Doesn't
just
look
leads
like
me.
it, no.
Yeah, it only leads me back to Foot Patrol. So
That sucks.
yeah. I wish I had the Air Maxes too. I wish I had those. Oh.
I wish I had copped a pair of the Air Maxes, but because I don't actually live that far from where Foot Patrol is, it's like 20 minutes on the subway. I'm gonna actually go and cop a pair of these in person at some point.
There you go.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'll take copious amounts of photos and post them on the Buildcasters account as well.
Yeah.
So next up, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some Gunpla. Everybody loves the Gunpla, those crazy, kooky plastic models. So in Gunpla news, there is one upcoming HGBD release, which is the Gundam Love Phantom, that launches in October 18 for 2,200 yen. Gentlemen, have you managed to look at this? And if so, what do you think about it?
Of course. Funny thing is, I thought like this one was based on the Death Sight, just upon like first impression, even from the show as well. But then like I just actually like searched it up on the Gundam wiki, and apparently it's also based off of the Strike Freedom.
Yep.
So
primarily,
I'm a little dumbfounded on that.
I can tell you that in the early 2000s, when Toonami was at its biggest in the US and Gundam Wing was huge, this would have been super popular because it definitely has that Death Scythe motif, but the color is similar but not identical to the Epion Gundam.
Yeah.
And those were the two like really cool edgy Gundams, and around that time when Gundam Wing was ultra popular, this would have sold so well.
Probably, yeah. Like, I mean, the Epion's colorway or color scheme is just beautiful. You know that like almost pinkish red?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next, we've got a SD Gundam Cross Silhouette release, and this is the 00 Diver Race, releasing in October 18 for 1,000 yen. Gentlemen, any thoughts or not really?
I don't know, really. I'm not really into
I feel like
SD
1,000
Gundams.
yen is about
Yeah.
right for a price.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this and saying, yeah, I would put down 1,000 yen, which is about $8 for this. Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, cool. And then we've got a bunch of other releases. There's the P.
But no more.
Yeah, no more. I agree. So we've got a bunch of other releases. We've got the P Bandai Heavy Gundam rollout color, which is October 18 for 2,200 yen. We've got the HGUC Narrative Gundam, November 18, and the price is to be confirmed. We've got the HGUC RX0 Unicorn Gundam 03 Phoenix version with a gold coating, and that's November 18 for 5,400 yen. My goodness. Then we've got the Sinanju Stein, which is October 18 for 2,600 yen. We got the P Bandai MG 1100 Gundam Avalanche Exia North American release, September 18 for $77. Wow. And we've got the high resolution model 1100 Gundam Astray Red Frame, which releases in November 18 and is priced at 13,000 yen? 13,000 yen? What?
Jeez, that better
So,
be
yeah.
some high quality piece right there. Let me take a look
Well,
at this real quick.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks very
This looks very detailed.
Yeah.
This looks
Yeah.
very detailed.
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm starting to see. Okay, yeah.
Look at that
13,000
inner
yen. Yeah, I can see how much work this was. Yeah.
Yeah.
look at that inner frame. It's crazy.
Upon examination, 13,000 yen seems about right, actually.
Yeah. Plus, it's a P Bandai release, so you know it's going to be a little pricey.
Yeah. P Bandai.
This might be a good one.
People off.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on any of the other kits?
Yeah, the Phoenix Unicorn Gundam 303. Oof.
That looks pretty
beautiful.
nice.
Yeah.
The narrative Gundam. I'm looking at the narrative Gundam and I'm just kind of like, what
Yeah.
is this? What is it? Like,
It's
it's almost like the Devil Gundam from G Gundam, but
Yeah.
but it's also like the Unicorn Gundam.
Yeah.
Right. I said this in the first episode we recorded. I said, like, the narrative Gundam kind of gives off, like, the unicorn and almost a Stargazer kind of vibe, just without the whole, like, back ring to it.
Yeah.
It's very skinny on the arms. That's what's kind of, like, bugging me a lot about it. But the whole mobile armor aspect to it is pretty nice, though.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that I read some notes online the other time when I was doing a little bit of research, and the narrative Gundam is actually a prototype for the new Gundam from Charles Counterattack. That's where it fits into the story.
Interesting, and this takes place after Char's counterattack,
Correct.
which is even more interesting.
Correct.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
and Gundam NT comes out November, right?
It's somewhere around there, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we finished the news, we're going to get into what you've all been waiting for. Gundam 00. So
Gundam 00.
Wait, this isn't for Doozy Bots?
no, it's not.
This is Doozy Bots 00.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, David, since you are our illustrious guest, why don't you basically go straight in? What did you think of the series overall?
I loved it. I love Gundam 00. As I said at the beginning, it is my favorite AU Gundam series, without question. It is, depending on when you ask me, my favorite Gundam series of them all, depending on the day, depending on how I'm feeling about Zeta. And I'll even go so far as to say that this particular series, Mobile Suit Gundam 00, has one particular character that I might even call a waifu. And she might even be a waifu for Laifu.
Sumeragi, huh?
Yep, that's my girl. That's my girl.
We're going to have to fight.
Yeah.
That's my
Ash's,
girl, too.
Claimed her, too.
Do you have a wall scroll?
No.
Oh my god. That's
But you have a Sumeragi wall scroll?
I have a Sumeragi wall scroll, sir.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Wow.
This is too good.
Your devotion to Sumeragi knows no bounds. I concede to you, kind gentleman.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. I will tweet out photos later. Please call me
Oh
DJ.
wow.
Please do.
I need a Setsuna FCA wall scroll. He's my god. He pretty much became a god. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But more on that later. So, Fives,
Yeah.
what did you think of 00 overall?
Man, I first watched it when it first aired. Crazy to think it was over 10 years ago now. It felt like it was yesterday. And it's still, I was watching the special edition movies the past few days just to give myself a refresher because
Okay.
I haven't really rewatched it since it aired. Unless you count the English dub, I guess, because I came right after. But it still holds up for me, and it's probably my favorite series so far.
Wow.
Great characters, great story. The action is just top notch. That's what happens when you have armed interventions. It's crazy. I still my favorite fight. I think is probably the final fight between Setsuna and Ribbon, maybe, or the 00 Gundam's first launch when it almost got shot at when it was in the launch pad, and he just used the twin drive system to disperse the GM particles and just stop the beams from hitting the cockpit. It's pretty cool.
That was dope.
Yeah.
So, me next. Gundam 00 is an anomaly for me in that when I first watched it, I liked it, but I wasn't super keen on it. My real love for it grew when I rewatched it this year. For me, it's definitely top 2 Gundam in general. It's definitely in my top 10 anime of all time. I think the reason why I loved it so much is because it was so story driven, so plot driven. Obviously the characters suffer a little bit in season 2 and we'll come into it, but it has a clearly defined plot. You know what's gonna happen, and the plot is just excellent, to be perfectly honest. And the designs, aesthetically, is my favorite Gundam series. Apart from that one Gundam from Gundam Wing that I rant and rave about every single episode, but you know what I'm talking about, Buildcasters fan.
Which one is that, huh?
The Wing Gundam EW, otherwise known as the Wing Gundam Verka, designed by the incomparable Hajime Toki. I need a Hajime Toki wall scroll, to be perfectly honest.
Oh man.
So what we're going to do next is first we're going to discuss and tear apart season 1, then we're going to go into season 2, and then we're going to talk about the movie. Sound all right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Why not? Let's do it.
So DJM, hit me, season 1. Go.
Season 1 of Mobile Suit Gundam 00 introduces us to 3 major world powers, and they all have technology called orbital elevators that allows human beings to go into space and use perpetual energy from the sun. And of course, since this is Gundam, they don't all necessarily get along with one another.
Right.
However, we are introduced to a paramilitary group called Celestial Being, a privately contracted organization under the philosophy of Dr. Aola Shenberg. For the folks at home, that is the most pronounceable of the unpronounceable Gundam names in this franchise. Aola
what's the plot twist on? What's the plot twist on him?
He's alive,
but dead at the same time. Yeah.
No.
Technically, he was alive because he was.
Technically, he's alive, even though he's supposed to be over 200 years old. He's technically alive. Also, for the first time in Gundam history, 00 was the only Mobile Suit Gundam series that took place in this
in our timeline
universe.
Yep,
AD,
that's right.
Anno Domini.
It's gonna happen in 200 years from now, 300 years from now. It's gonna happen.
So we all have to find Dr. Shenberg and make sure that we can all go into cryo sleep for 200 years so we can actually see real life mobile suits.
So one thing that really strikes me about season 1 of 00, is how topical it was for the time. So obviously it was made in a post 9/11 world, and
Yes.
like obviously the war between the different powers, the Human Reform League, the Union, and the Advanced European Union, was kind of an analog for the War on Terror, or as some of us know, the War for Oil. How do you guys feel that 00 handled those topical themes?
I think for me, first of all, it really, I love that they made Setsuna the main character, and the fact
Yeah,
that
me
he
too.
was Middle Eastern. This was a Middle Eastern character from a Middle Eastern country who was used as a child soldier in a holy war. Given the time, that's super on the nose and wildly appropriate. So credit to Sunrise for going there the way they did. I remember when I first watched Gundam 00 and the subtitles were still kind of janky, and they actually said that he was from Kurdistan and not the fictional country of Krujis. And that made it even more interesting that, whoa, Setsuna's from Kurdistan? What's going to happen with Kurdistan? Because for people that don't know, Kurdistan is a state within a state that is a part of the nation of Iraq, but it is quasi-autonomous.
Correct.
The Kurds have their own people, their own culture, but it is in a part of northern Iraq.
Yep.
And given that this took place in our timeline, AD, it kind of made you think what's going to happen. But no, it was just some messed up subtitles back in the day, because this was long before subtitles were really, really good.
This is before the Gundam channel officially subtitled their stuff.
Oh yeah. But
this is like, you needed like some fan subs and stuff, whatever groups were around at that time.
In terms of the how topical 00 was, I feel it was perfect, to be perfectly honest. They handled the themes. It was very on the nose, as DJM said, but they handled it with a sensitivity and a biting amount of realism as well. I think that's what I really enjoyed about it. Like, the way they handled it was really realistic. Like, you can imagine this. You can take the events of 00. You could obviously transpose it onto our world that doesn't have giant mechanical war machines, and it could be, in reality, a very real story.
It was pretty clear that you could tell which countries were supposed to be the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Or which countries were supposed to be Russia or the Eastern countries like China or Japan. And in one way, they weren't subtle about it, but it was clear and overt in a good way.
Yeah.
They weren't like some Gundam series sometimes do, beating you over the head with the symbolism until much later in the series. That you get that later, but it put things in a good perspective, I think.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
I'd say so. I mean, even 00's topics, you could even transpose them onto modern day with the Arab Spring and the war in Syria and so on and so forth. I mean, like, it's been 10 years, but 00 topic, like how topical it is, still resonates to this very day.
It was definitely with the times for sure, even back then.
Even now.
Definitely.
Even now it's still relevant.
Even now, it still holds up.
For sure.
It does take some pretty like real life issues and puts its Gundam spin on it, even though still staying grounded to it.
So, the characters, how do you guys feel about how the various factions are portrayed in season 1?
I will say that for me, the thing that I always tell people when people ask me, DJM, what Gundam series should I watch first? And 99 times out of 100, I'll tell them, watch Gundam 00. Because what I normally say to them is that it's Gundam Wing, but better. And
it's Gundam, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The first point that I make with that is the characters. I feel like the Gundam Meisters are a more defined, more likable version of the 5 Gundam pilots from Gundam Wing. Setsuna F. Seiei is very obviously influenced by Hiro Yui. I would say Lock-on Stratus has a little bit of Duo Maxwell in him. Thierry Arde is Wu Fei Chang, and you can only do so much with a character like that. Thankfully, over time, Tieria does get a little bit better. He's a little bit better.
I used to not like Tieria in the beginning. I used to hate him. And then
nobody liked Tieria. Nobody.
Yeah.
And for a while, the most interesting character, almost right away, of the Gundam Meisters is Alleluia Haptism, because he has this really interesting backstory almost from the jump. And like I said, the Gundam Meisters are really, really interesting, fleshed out characters almost from go. And even with the one particular Gundam Meister, Lock-on Stratus, going from season 1 to season 2, they do a thing that at the time was definitely a topic of debate, but in the end, it does not turn out as terrible as you might think. And as far as the Gundam Meisters go, I really liked them as characters. Celestial Being, I liked pretty much all of them. I think some of them weren't as fleshed out as they could have been, and some were. And
that's why they died in the first season.
Right. And, well, even some of them in season 2 could have gotten a little bit. As far as the Earth Sphere factions, I think that some were better than others. I think that one character in particular, Graham Aker, I think in the Gundam universe, I think he's really underrated.
He is super
underrated. He showed a lot of evolution and growth, and
especially in the movie. Yeah, I was like, wow, I actually like Graham Aker now.
And I would be remiss if I did not talk about the forgotten hero of Gundam 00, Colonel Smirnov.
Are you saying Colonel Smirnov?
Yeah,
Colonel Smirnov. Yeah,
Patrick Kolosawa.
Patrick?
I'm kidding.
He's kidding.
Patrick was fun.
He was a funny guy.
There needs to be a comic relief character in Gundam. So I was okay with Patrick. I was okay with him.
He made it into Build Divers. So
he's in every single episode of Build Divers.
Every episode in the background. Last episode he got bit by a dog. It was hilarious.
Of course he did.
So Five, same question to you, my friend.
Characters, right? We're talking about
characters, correct?
Yeah, for the most part, I really did like the characters, and the Gundam Meisters were really something. You know, they like had like some kind of like unique. I don't want to say that made them broken, but like they had like some unique kind of past to them, and I like how Setsuna and Lock-on's past, well, Neil Delandi, they were kind of intertwined. Belong to the guerrilla group that killed Lock-on his sister. So I thought that was like some good tension, even though they got rid of that tension within that instant.
Yeah, that was dealt with way too quickly.
Yeah. I think because like Lock-on really is like the most mature out of them, so he's just like, you know, he sets as my teammate no matter what, you know, what happened in the past, like I could find my own way to deal with it, but he's my teammate.
But he was pretty mad.
Yeah,
he was mad. But he's like, in a way, he can't let that get to him from completing the bigger mission.
Yeah. Yet still, he was arguably the most risky because he let his first for vengeance get his ass killed. So, yeah.
I know, man. Led to what probably the saddest moment, actually.
Where were you when you saw a Gundam pilot die?
Halfway into the series.
Yeah.
My jaw dropped. I was like, oh my god. I kind of saw it coming because like in the episode before he got his injury and everything. So I was like, he's only got one. He can only see through one eye now. Something's not going to end up well.
Yeah. Well, Lock-on's death was good preparation for the emotional fuck shit I'm about to encounter in IBO. So.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
You're not prepared for this one.
Oh,
maybe you are. Maybe you are. But IBO is so. DJM, have you seen IBO?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was not quite Victory Gundam, but it was up there for sure.
It was for sure. I can't listen to the last ending theme because of like the body count to that song. It's so sad.
But yeah, back onto the Double O. In terms of the characters, what strikes me about Double O is that because it's such a plot-driven series, you're kind of like in awe of how well developed the characters are. Like, obviously we see like the portray we see Setsuna's backstory, how it's built, like his past as a child soldier, how it's built him into the like character that he is today. Like, obviously all of that trauma would have taken a psychological toil on him, and that kind of explains why he's embraced this stoicism and the ideals of the Gundam, as it were. Like, he literally wants to become a Gundam, not like the mechanical, not a mechanical being, but like what the Gundam metaphorically represents, if you see what I mean. And
he
then
wants to become a symbol. He wants to be incorruptible. Just like Batman.
Just like Batman. Setsuna FCA is Batman. You heard it here first, folks. But yeah, on to Alleluia Haptism. Again, that he is also a character where there has been like with him, like the way in which he's written is a very realistic portrayal of the mental trauma he would have faced. He would have encountered as a result of the experimentation that he went through in the Super Soldier program of the Human Reform League. And Hallelujah, his sort of sadistic alter ego arising, is a really, really realistic representation of multiple personality disorder and mental illness, and it's really handled with care. I think it's really, really handled with care for an anime, anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, him and Soma Pyrrhus or Marie Parfasy, they're pretty much like this version of Gundam's cyber new types, which is pretty cool. And he's like a main Gundam pilot too. I thought that was really cool.
What I was going to say, just to go on with what Chap said a second ago, is with Hallelujah, his alternate personality, how it's a really good portrayal of a split personality and mental trauma on anime standards at the very least.
Absolutely.
One other character from Celestial Being, Sumeragi, Lee Noriega, the portrayal of her and her trauma from her past, driving her to alcoholism, is extremely well done.
Yes,
that's so realistic.
that was one of the things about that character that I found so compelling, and how in one way she's this excellent tactical commander and commands the ship and everyone respects her, but at the same time she's barely able to function without a drink. And that's and so many times in anime, someone that drinks a lot is portrayed in a comedic light, and this was not the case, and that was something Gundam 00 did really, really well.
Really, really well. Completely agree with you on that one. Lock-on, say I'm a fan of him. But his recklessness is something I do hold against him and makes me dislike the character a little bit. So yeah. Graham Aker is great. Patrick Colas Sawa, I'm a massive fan of. I think he's absolutely hilarious. Like, especially his flirtations with Cutty Mannequin as well.
Yeah,
I feel like
he got the girl in the end.
I definitely relate to Cutty Mannequin on that level. In some ways, he's really annoying. But at the same time, I do like him. Or just you know what? You're an idiot, but I can't help but like you.
Yeah, like when I was watching 00, Cutty Mannequin like kind of reminds me of my girlfriend somewhat, because I'm like in that relationship, I'm very much like the joker, the trickster, always ready to play jokes, and like she just has none of it whatsoever. So yeah,
that's funny.
Like I'm always getting told off. Always. But yeah, so next we're gonna go on to season 2. So Fives, do you want to hit us with just like a quick outline of season 2, and then we'll go into some further discussion?
Yeah, so Celestial Being has fallen at the end of the first season. They all ejected their GN drives and all that stuff. They got messed up by the what was it, the GNXs, right?
Yeah, the Jinxes.
I think. The Jinxes?
Because basically what happens at the end of season 1 is that Ribbons, Olmark, and his band of innovators, in inverted... well, yeah, I'm going to call them the innovators, because that's what they think they are.
That's
Innovators
what
in
they
air
call them,
quotes.
until the end.
They leak the GN drive technology to the various world superpowers, and then the various world superpowers use them to create GN drive towels, which are imitation GN drives, which emit red GN particles. But yeah, Fives, continue, please.
And they yucked up the Gundams. So Celestial, of course, lock on Stratos with his drive for revenge against Ali Al-Sachez. He dies in a valiant effort to try to stop him. But that was I guess the really huge pushing factor for all the Gundam, for the rest of the Meisters. Yeah. But at the same time, that was the huge falling point. That's when they really fell apart right there.
Yeah.
And so Alejandro Corner had his mobile suit. I forgot the name of it. But Setsuna used, Exia's advantage with the swords and everything to kill him. And that was it. And then we time skip 4 years later, which is something we really don't see in the middle of a Gundam series, because 00 is obviously 2 seasons, the same series, but that time skip was pretty cool. So Setsuna is still doing work on the DL with his Exia repair, which is absolutely beautiful. Even though function wise it's kind of crappy.
Yeah.
So he rescues Saji Crossroad from being killed off on that working colony facility. I forgot the name of it, because they thought he was with Cateron.
Catheron, yeah.
Yeah. And so Saji gets intertwined with Celestial Being now, and he gets pissed when he finds out Setsuna, his acquaintance, friend, I guess, is part of Celestial Being. And that kind of puts the tension between them for the first few episodes, and then he eventually, I guess, just joins Celestial Being because he kind of has no choice. So that's what happens in the beginning, and then the whole band gets back together. Tieria finds Setsuna and his Exia repair pretty much about to be killed off almost, and then Setsuna gets the 00 Gundam. They recruit Neil Delandy's brother Lyle to become the next lock on Stratos. Yep. Alleluia is in. I think he's on a. I think he was on a colony.
No, he's in prison.
I think he was. Was it on a space colony or was it on Earth? I forget. No, it was on Earth.
I think it was on a prison ship or something.
It was. It was on a ship on.
Yeah.
Earth.
It was on a ship.
It was on Earth. Okay, yeah. So they have to rescue him and give him the Arios. So it took a few episodes to get everybody back together, but it was nice.
And they really had to drag Sumeragi. She did not want to come back.
She did.
They literally had to drag her, put her back into sobriety.
What we neglected to mention is that between season 1 and season 2, the 3 Earth superpowers have all joined together and become the Earth Federation. And then they now have a unified military as well. So Aeolia's first goal, the first goal of Aeolia Schenberg's plan to unite the Earth and end all war, has basically come to pass. So what happens is that when Celestial Being arises, the Earth Sphere Federation create a secret police that only report to the higher, to the upper echelons of the Earth Sphere government, and they're called the Outlaws. And the majority of season 2's plot is focused on battling, on Celestial Being doing battle with the Outlaws, who operate with basically, well, they're basically supposed to protect the Earth Sphere and stop a war, but in reality they're there to crush political dissent. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it's like a parallel to the Titans from Zeta Gundam, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. That's the only thing I take out of them, really.
As I've said, if there are 2 Gundam series that I tell everyone to watch first, it's 00 and Zeta Gundam. and you'll definitely see the parallel. And
yeah, definitely.
It's not a bad thing by any means. They do it well.
Right, I agree too.
And all while this is going on, what people don't realize is that the innovators, or the innovades as they really are, behind the scenes are pulling all the strings, and Ribbon's Allmark is actually the true chess master who says that his goal is to carry out Aeolia Schenberg's plan in air quotes, but really what he wants to do is control humanity
Wants to rule
for
the
himself.
world.
Yes, exactly, DJ. So yeah, season 2, guys. In general, what did you think, DJM?
I remember on the internet at the time season 2 of Gundam 00 came out. The first thing that I remember was people were so upset that Lock-on Stratus had this heroic death, and then they just bring in his brother, and then they just go on like it never happened. And as the series went on and played on, it was kind of like, okay, they're not the same guy. And they made a pretty concerted effort to show that even though they're brothers and they look alike, they weren't the same character. Also, Alleluia and Soma Pyrrhus, they get together, they reunite from their days as kids from the Super Soldier program, and they become besties and a little bit more than besties. And
definitely.
we go forward with that. And I would say that I'm glad that there were 3 certain characters from season 1 that were put aside in favor of Ribbons, the Innovades, and the Allies. A couple of, or rather a trio of characters that showed up in the latter part of season 1. I did not care for them very much.
Oh boy,
the Trinity
siblings.
The Trinity.
Yeah, I didn't care for them either. I hate what's her face, Nana.
She was the worst.
She is absolutely the worst.
Oh, I was so pissed when she survived throughout season 2 until the end.
Yeah.
Did anybody like the Trinity siblings? Did anyone?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. I remember when the show was airing, I used to look on forums and stuff, and it's just nothing but negative reception to the Trinity siblings. They had cool mobile suits. They had cool mobile suits, but the characters themselves are just they're pretty much made to die.
Yeah, the Gundam thrones were kind of cool.
In a way, Ali Al-Sachez was a bad guy. He was not a good dude, but he was kind of cool. He was kind of cool.
But
the Trinity siblings,
there's nothing good about them except for their Gundams.
I'm not gonna lie. When Ali Al-Sachez killed the Trinity brothers, I kind of laughed a little bit. I was super hyped, man.
I was not mad.
It was too easy
mad at all.
The way he did it too. It was way too easy. I liked it.
Yeah, super dope. So in general, how you guys feel about season 2? I kind of feel like the season, the plot with the Outlaws kind of dragged on for a bit. Dragged on too long. I don't feel there was a massive drop in quality from season 1, but I do feel
when they did that 3-month time skip in the middle of the season?
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
What was it? The coup d'état?
Yeah.
I thought that was weird too, because it happened in the middle of the episode. I was like, what the hell? This is so weird. I think we could have done without that at least, because that was a little out of there.
Guys, we cannot go without talking about season 2 without arguably the best character come up in Gundam modern history. And that, of course, is Mr. Bushido.
It ain't a Gundam show without a masked character, and
it's not.
Ray Maker.
And not only was he a masked character, he was also a super Japanophobe.
Yeah, he was.
Who walked around everywhere in a samurai robe.
Yeah.
And lived by the code of the Bushido and only wanted an honorable battle with Setsuna.
Oh boy.
Dude, he's overly obsessed with the Gundams in season 1. It's crazy.
He's a classic Hollywood movie trope.
Yeah, he is.
In season 2.
He wanted his honor back.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's
As the kids say nowadays, he wanted the salty run back. That's all he wanted.
He's basically Tom Cruise from The Last Samurai. Do you guys remember that film?
Oh,
yeah.
my God. Yeah, I do. Damn.
Oh boy. But yeah. So season 2, I think it had a noticeable drop in quality, but the drop wasn't like bad enough
This
This is
to
something
make it
that was said
unwatchable.
back in the day too. Like for whatever
Yeah.
reason, people like hated a lot of season 2. I feel like
I think it was the way they wrapped up some things, especially with Ribbons, his revelation. My jaw dropped when he revealed that he was piloting the old Gundam when Setsuna first saw him.
Yeah.
in the very end.
Yeah.
I remember watching because I just rewatched 00 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, that's the RX-78-2. What the heck?
I thought it was as well.
Yeah.
I initially
Literally,
thought
just
it
with
was.
the GN drive.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, when the previews for 00 came out before the show started, I thought this was going to take place like someplace after the Universal Century or like sometime before maybe because, they show the old Gundam just in the air in that very first scene. So that's what I thought, but of course not.
So wait, does that mean if the O Gundam that was piloted by Ribbons Allmark may or may not be the RX-78-2, does that mean the Universal Century is also in our timeline?
Could be.
Could well be. Yoshiyuki Tomino's never said it's not.
They said the Universal Century technically is taking place in our timeline. It's just I forget how far into the future.
Spoilers!
Nah, not spoilers.
If you haven't watched Gundam Unicorn already. Spoilers!
But then again, everything's supposedly supposed to lead up to, Turn A Gundam, even though that doesn't make sense because that's been retconned here and there.
Yeah, Turn A got retconned by Recon Conquista in G, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people still find ways to fit it in, but I just think I don't know. It really shot itself in the foot with that one, especially putting in the archive footage of all the other Gundam series. But that's a discussion for another day.
That is a discussion for another day. Yes.
That's gonna hurt my head talking about it right now.
What I wanted to bring up was is it a new returner?
Oh, I forgot about a new returner.
She was so how on earth? How stupid did Celestial being have to be to fall for that? Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there's this pretty girl who's super stoic, comes from nowhere.
Once again, for everyone out there that has already watched Zeta Gundam, I hate to trigger all of you out there and say the name for Mirasame.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I know.
Camille's obsession.
Yeah.
God.
So again, another parallel with Zeta Gundam. And poor Lyle.
I was just about to say something about that.
He found himself a lady.
Some love.
He did.
Yeah.
Turned out she was an Innovade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Setsuna killed her. And he was pissed off.
Yeah, Lyle was pretty pissed. He was all up in them cheeks one moment, and next moment, she was dead.
Yeah.
She deserved it.
And Setsuna, to Setsuna's credit, he was completely understanding. If you want to beat me up, if you want to shoot me, if you want to beat me up, I just killed your girl. I understand. So do what you got to do.
The thing is, Lyle wasn't going to do it, so Setsuna had to. Someone had to do it.
Somebody had to, or else they would have all died.
Yep.
He was, and then he was like, "Go ahead and get it out of your system, dude."
Exactly. Yep.
Another thing I want to bring up is Celestial Being really weren't on the ball this season. Did they ever pick up that Lyle was secretly a member of Catharon the entire season? Or was that just completely glossed over?
I forget. I think it was dropped because actually I don't even know if it was dropped. I know Setsuna knew that he was a member. That was it, because he straight up told to Setsuna, he's like, "Oh, I could just leak this to my boys with the USB that you just gave me." But I forget. I know they joined forces with Catharon and because what's her face, Marina Ismail's servant, whatever the hell her name was.
Yeah, she became a member as well.
Yeah, she was a member, and then
Yeah.
if they ever mentioned at that point like Lyle was part of them or not, I forget.
I don't think they did.
That's what
but,
sucks about this. That's what sucks about the special edition movies because it's just straight like fighting and battles and all that stuff. They don't really focus that much on
like the story.
what's being. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I couldn't I couldn't really watch it. I tried to watch the first special edition movie. I'm like, they're just like burning through episodes of just fights, and fights. There's no like
Not much story.
Yeah, there's no flow to it. It was really weird, and I was like, I don't remember the special edition movies being like this bad. So there's that.
What I was gonna say is like Celestial being failed, but back to the Catherine thing, like they failed to do any like background checks on him. I guess maybe maybe the writers were foreshadowing Celestial being taken in and tricked by a new returner. Maybe that was foreshadowing. I don't know.
Maybe, or like at the same time, I feel like they're just so desperate to get someone to take Lock-On's place.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So now the final battle. How did you guys feel about that? Like, how do you feel that the season was wrapped up? Did it have a satisfying conclusion, or could it have done a lot more? Did it leave you wanting?
It definitely left us wanting more because the movie.
The movie did happen.
Yeah, the movie did happen. I like the ending of the show though. I did. It left it more as an open ending, if anything. But I feel like we could use one more episode to wrap things up because it mostly focused on Setsuna and Ribbons and their final battle. Well, two of their final battles because it was a 2-part thing. But then after that, they just fly off to Jupiter, and that was it.
I think that it wrapped up a few of the minor things. And it put the major storylines in a pretty decent place. So as far as an ending, it was okay. I felt satisfied with the ending, and I didn't expect any more because sometimes you just can't do that. So I felt like the ending was overall okay.
Yeah. And going back to the ending, at least the final episode, when Ribbons revealed that he was piloting the O-gun, I was not expecting that at all. But then, I guess like you start putting 2 and 2 together, and then you finally see that it makes sense. And like he was just like taunting Setsuna. He's like, "I'm the very thing that you looked up to. How do you feel now?" Yeah, I'm your god.
You're a dick, and I'm still gonna kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
That final battle was so sweet though, like how Setsuna jumped, because obviously the 00 Razor was like completely obliterated. The way he jumped back into the Axia repaired too, and then completely like impaled. Well, obviously they impale each other's cockpits, but obviously Setsuna survives and Ribbons doesn't. But that final battle, wow, man! I think it might be one of my favorite battles. Playing? Yeah, with the sword play. Jeez. My goodness, it's amazing. I think it might be my favorite final battle in all of Gundam history. If I'm keeping it 100.
Nice.
I don't like Zeta Gundam's final battle.
Zeta Gundam's final battle is rough. I would probably say
I don't like it.
Gundam 00's is up there for me, but it's probably still right now Gundam Seed. Right now, just off the top of my head.
Gundam Seed was crazy with their final battle because like they just like everybody was going all out.
Is that the battle from Seed or Seed Destiny?
Seed.
Oh, okay, cool.
I did not say Destiny. Let me make that clear.
He doesn't mention Destiny, I guess. That travesty, huh? 00's final fight. That's definitely up there for me too. I want to say IBO's final fight also is up there for me as well, but I'm not going to spoil that for you, Ash, because you're still watching.
I skipped ahead and watched it already.
You already did?
Yeah.
All right, so you know what happened. You know what happens.
Yeah, I know what happens. Yeah. Oh boy. Poor
like
Mikazuki.
Bosses, man.
Yeah. He should have stayed alive, but
he's got a son.
Yeah. It's not quite the same, but
Yeah.
So, guys, final thoughts on 00?
Everyone should watch it.
Yeah, everybody should definitely watch it. It's
And I say everyone, just as an anime in general, not
Yeah.
just for Gundam. I believe it is the gateway to Gundam.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, definitely. Arguably that or Build Fighters, one of those two, definitely. But Double O is like I hold it in a very high regard, and it has like a special place for me. So yeah, watch it, people.
For me, I feel that this is how you do a strong plot-driven series, right? Without sacrificing character development. It was extremely topical back then. It's still extremely topical and relevant to this very day. Even though it's been 11 years since almost 11 years since it first aired.
Are we going to talk about Awakening of the Trailblazer, gentlemen?
Yeah, in a minute. Once.
All right.
Okay, cool. Even though it's been 11 years since since Double O, the series aired, it still holds up to this very day. Not just as a Gundam series, but as an anime in general. So go watch it. You've been ordered to, basically. So next we're gonna cover Awakening of the Trailblazer, the Gundam 00 movie. DJM, hit me.
I was expecting Awakening of the Trailblazer to be an absolute train wreck, along the lines of Dragon Ball Evolution. What I ended up getting was a movie that was not terrible and pretty good visually, along the lines of the Ghost in the Shell 2017 movie, in that it was not terrible, but not great.
Right, yeah, it was in the middle for me too. Like, I had a lot of expectations for the movie, but they were like, I was reading spoilers and everything from Japan, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of eh. And when I actually watched the movie, I was just like, wow, that's like, it's kind of mid.
I recently watched Awakening of the Trailblazer twice. So yeah, I thought it was good as an anime movie in general, but I didn't think it was a very good Gundam movie. The plot was great. Aesthetically, it's incomparable. Like, it still holds up 8 years later. The visuals are absolutely beautiful. The new Gundams are mid as fuck. I don't like the 00 Quanta at all. Trash, big trash.
I barely remember what it looks like.
I don't like the asymmetrical look to it, to be honest. I can't get behind that look.
I like its weapons, but that's about it. Sorry, go on.
They traded out the twin drive system for that, man. Unforgivable.
Technically, it does actually still have a twin drive system. The second VN drive is in the shield.
Yeah, that's true. The way they repositioned it, I guess.
Yeah, the Raphael Gundam is also super big trash.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
Didn't even have side daggers.
Yeah.
I think the only one I actually like is, I think it's Harute, which is Alalu's new machine. I mean, obviously, as you know, I have a thing for transformable Gundams, so that's great. Yeah. But the fact it actually managed to combine Arios and the GN Archer into one unit and not look like complete mess was a win for me, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, all in all, Awakening of the Trailblazer was, to me, a good anime film. It went on for a bit too long, though. It did not need to be 2 hours long, but not that great a Gundam movie. Guys, final thoughts?
It reaffirms why Setsuna FCA is the GOAT.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I thought it was not nearly as terrible as I expected it to be.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Awesome. So what we're going to do now is we have one Twitter question to answer that I saved from the last episode, because this one's 00 related, and then we'll wrap up. Sounds good?
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. So this question is from Thaliarchus, who says, aha, okay, thank you. I guess when it started, 00 had some elements which felt quite ripped from the headlines. I guess that even extended to using our own calendar. Does it still feel like it has any contemporary resonance in 2018, or has the aspect of the show aged now? DJM?
Are there still conflicts in the Middle East?
Definitely.
Check.
Are there still tensions between the Western world and other major superpowers?
Check.
Oh, especially today. Yeah, definitely.
Hell yes.
Oh my god.
Are Gundams
Yeah.
still cool?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think it holds up.
It
Yeah,
definitely does. Fives?
Definitely holds up. I'd say the same. It definitely holds up, you know. There's nothing really crazy to talk about, but you know, it's still with the times, I'll say.
Absolutely. Still resonates 11 years later. And that's not
And
going to change
one
anytime
last
soon.
thing.
Yep, go on.
Marina Ismail is nowhere near as bad as Relina Peacecraft.
Oh, absolutely. I know.
Not even close.
I like Marina better.
Pretty much. Like, Relina
Did you guys
Peacecraft
prefer
was
Did you guys prefer the manga ending to Awakening of the Trailblazer?
I don't know the
Set-
manga ending.
Okay, so the same thing happens. Setsuna visits Marina like years into the future again when she's old,
Oh, okay.
and she's blind. So
Oh, no way.
yeah, she eventually becomes blind and very old, and then in the manga ending, Setsuna pretty much
They get married, right?
he de-ages her, and then they both get married.
Yeah.
And live happily ever after.
Didn't they say throughout the series every time
It
someone
wasn't
would
like
ask
that.
them,
Yeah.
Those
They
two
didn't have that kind of
definitely wanted to
relationship.
fuck.
He didn't
They
like her
definitely
like
wanted
that.
to fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
But-
stick with the movie ending.
Yeah, so would I.
We
Like,
just said,
have-
I'm glad we
have either
able
of
to
you-
understand each other.
Have either of you read anything from the Gundam Wing sequel, Frozen Teardrop?
No, not
I've
yet.
heard no. I have
Oh,
not, but
God.
I've just seen a few of the mobile suits.
Is it bad?
The ending is.
Oh really? Oh my god.
We don't really mind spoilers, so you can tell us if you want to.
Yeah, you can tell us what happens. I'm never
Yeah.
gonna read it, so
If you've seen the ending of Gundam Wing,
Okay.
where Hito leaves a note for Relena,
Yep, we have.
at the end of Frozen Teardrop, I believe he does that again, and it's a marriage note.
Oh, God.
oh my god.
Jesus.
Dude, jeez. That's whack.
I'll
whack,
stick
bro.
with the ending in the movie Awakening of the Trailblazer.
That's some
Yeah.
big trash. I am definitely not reading Frozen Teardrop now.
I had
No,
no plans to
everyone
ever
out
read
there?
it, to be honest.
Watch Gundam 00, watch Zeta Gundam, do not read Frozen Teardrop.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You heard it here from DJM himself. So,
Guys,
guys,
watch Gundam X too.
Yeah.
I've yet to see that. It's on my list. After IBO.
I think
And
it's
after
highly
you-
underrated. I'm like halfway through it right now, and it's like, wow.
Gundam X is good. It is
Yeah,
good.
Just
I'd say
good,
it's
not
definitely
great.
like it was. Well, I feel like it was obviously it was cut way too short before its time, but
Yeah.
it was definitely underrated for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to check it
it
out.
takes it takes a few like little aspects from the original Gundam and
Okay.
puts it into like its own spin. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to watch the original Kiddo Senshi Gundam first, and then I'll watch X.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, guys, thank you for listening. That is the end of the episode. DJM, would you like to tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs?
Well, if you would be so inclined as to follow me on the Twitter, you can do that at Please Call Me DJM. Also, everybody, there's the anime podcast of some sort, which is in iTunes, Stitcher, Google. It's pretty much everywhere. Just look for the anime podcast of some sort. You can play it on any podcatcher of choice. There's the Record Breakers podcast, and there's It's in Season, coming back in fall of 2018. And God, I do so many of them. DeltaJulietMike.com. And of course, one more time, at Please Call Me DJM.
DJM is Two Nerdy Black Guys coming back anytime soon. Sorry, I'm just fanboying a little bit.
I feel like that is a great question. but I feel like the last episode of Two Nerdy Black Guys we did, I feel like we ended it on a pretty strong note. I feel like it had a strong ending.
Yeah.
So Two Nerdy Black Guys has always been kind of open-ended, but I'm very satisfied with it.
Okay, cool. I guess that answers my question. SentaiFive, where can the fans find the Buildcasters on the interwebs?
You can find us on Twitter at Buildcasters, and you can find us on YouTube at Legion of Boom. We have our YouTube channel on there. And you can find us also on SoundCloud at Legion of Boom. That's Leg10n Of Boom. We're on something else, aren't we?
You can also find us on Anchor, which is a great podcasting app on that can be found on iOS. And that's anchor.fm/build-casters. You can find SentaiFive on Twitter at SentaiFive. You can find me on Twitter at TheMacabreChap. And we're on a whole host of podcatchers. We're on Castbox, we're on Overcast, we're on Pocket Cast, Podbeam, Radio Public, Stitcher, and TuneIn. So yeah. You can find us everywhere podcasts are available, basically. So that's it. We're going to set down our GP bases and Buildcasters out.
Battle ended.
Battle ended.
Battle ended.